Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I'm Shalini Matthew, and it's an honor to moderate this distinguished panel of alumni and educators from North America and Canada as we reflect on the evolving higher education landscape and what it means for universities in India, particularly our alma mater, the Mahatma Gandhi University. The pace of change in higher education globally driven by technology, student expectations, and new models of teaching and research is unprecedented. Today, our goal is to explore these shifts, the key reform Indian universities might prioritize, and exchange insights that strengthen cross border learning and collaboration. Over the last decade, universities in the United States and Canada have reimagined their roles, not only as knowledge centers, but also as innovation hubs. So we are witnessing the similar changes in India as well. There is a momentum with increased focus on internationalization. We heard this morning from our Honorable Vice Chancellor about even affiliated colleges having those dual degrees with international universities. To truly transform this higher education, reforms must go beyond the policy. It must reach classrooms, research labs, and the student experience itself. So today, that's what we are going to explore. At this time, I invite my panel members to introduce themselves.
Hello everyone. My name is Jacob Theruvathu. I was a PhD student in the School of Chemical Sciences from 1997 to 2003, and I did the PhD under the guidance of Dr. C.T. Aravindakumar. And after PhD, I moved to US to do some postdoctoral studies. I did postdoctoral studies at NIH Maryland, and then I moved to Loma Linda University and University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston. And then later I joined as a faculty at the University of Houston downtown. And currently I'm an associate professor at this institution. Thank you.
Krishna Kumar.
Hi everyone, my name is Krishna Kumar. I studied in the School of Computer Science from 1996 to 1998, and since then I've been working in a bunch of different companies and industries in software development. Currently, I'm working in Berkeley Life Sciences, which is a company that focuses on healthcare, and I've been there for around 3 years now. Thank you.
Maybe I'll start. Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening. It's morning for us though here. Myself Saji George, and I'm associate professor and chair of the Department of Food and Agriculture Chemistry at McGill University, Canada. I did my MSc Biotechnology from MGU from 1999 to 2001. And it's a pleasure to interact with you. I'm looking forward to have a meaningful discussion today. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Santosh Pillai. I'm part of the first batch of MSc Computer Science 93-95. Currently, I'm a product owner and a group product manager for big data storage analytics at Microsoft. I graduated over 30 years ago, so I am one of the perfect persons to be in this panel. And by now, I have also lived in the US longer than I lived in India. I'm very fond of Malayalam language and cherishes the dream of pursuing a PhD in Malayalam, which is also a topic that we might later pick up. And I'm halfway there because I got added to a WhatsApp group with Manoj Kurur on it.
Vibin.
Hey, myself Vibin. I'm from School of Computer Science, 2001-2003 batch. After graduation, I was in Bangalore for a few years, and then I moved to US. Last 10 years, I've been working with the education technology. I'm working with a company called Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. And like in recent years, I've been very focusing on assessments and then a lot of AI translation at this point. and great to be part of this panel to talk about a little bit about the technologies in the education industry. Thanks.
Thank you, panel. Thank you, panelists. I think that's everyone with their introductions. And I'm Shalini Matthew. I'm an associate professor at Northern State University. I did my master's in Mahatma Gandhi University in the School of Behavior Science and moved to the US to do my PhD in 2016. And now I'm an associate professor at Northern State University in the graduate programs. To frame our discussion today, I'd like to highlight 3 areas where meaningful reform could shape the future of Indian higher education. To start with, our first topic of discussion is internships, industry collaboration, and how not to miss entrepreneurship opportunities. So I would like my panelists to basically think about what concrete models of internships and industry collaboration have you seen in the North America and Canada that both enhance student employability and capitalize on entrepreneurial opportunities? How might these models be realistically adapted within the regulatory and resource context of universities, specifically in Kerala? Saji, could you please start?
Great. Thank you, Shalini. And I believe this is a great topic to discuss in this panel. First of all, before I start, I would like to thank Dr. Jin Jos for this visionary mission to actually bring up all these panel discussions here, and it's very appropriate to take and learn from, I think, the Western universities, and that's one of these, I believe, the scope of this discussion here. And also many of those opinions that I'm going to express here is gathered from my own experience, and I also have checked the ground reality with my then classmates, and so I thank many of my classmates, Meera, Madhu, and Jyoti, and all others who contributed to this discussion today. So we had a previous preliminary discussion, and then I understand that many of the things, like especially when I talk about the point that I want to talk is about the industry internship. And so I learned that it is in fact being applied in many of those sectors or in degree courses that the students really go out for industry internship. It's a very good move. And even now when we were there, like maybe 20 years ago, we did have that kind of opportunity to go out, mostly to research institutions, not so much to the industries. So what I actually bring to the table today is a possibility of tying up with local small and medium scale SMEs in addressing their problems. So that's how we actually in our department do this. So we have in that program, internship program, usually done as a capstone project or as a summer research internship, which may be for 4 to 6 months. What we do have is an officer who is actually an interface. He's acting as an interface between the industry and the university. So that officer, before the time comes, she or he advertises the positions or asks around the network, the industry network, about the research opportunities that students may have in an industry. And here I want to allude one more thing, like what we are actually engaging students in an industry is for in an internship is a research project, not as a cheap labor there. So how do we make sure that that is not being used as a cheap labor is by making sure that there is a industry has a problem that the students can solve it. So it may be a small problem, it may be a big problem, or maybe they may be into which they will be contributing, a part of it they will be contributing. For example, it need not be always like, finding a drug solution or developing a drug for cancer. It need not be like that. It can be something like fixing a small issue in the supply chain. So the key is to identify what matters to the industry, and then whether the expertise of the student or that educational track the student being can contribute towards solving that issue. So there is a research proposal that is put in place that's actually part of that course, where the student has to write a research proposal after consulting with an industry person there. And the industry person in turn will also revert back to an internal supervisor. So there are two supervisors for the student. So they have to actually go through that structure where they identify the internal supervisor and the industry supervisor. Together, they will put up a small proposal talking about what is the research problem that they are going to solve. And then in between, we will have some midterm kind of an evaluation to make sure that everything is going as planned. And then at the end, there is an evaluation, not only for the research part of the project, but also for the soft skills. So basically the student, so it's also, I mean, like, in that inculcated into that course, that students are going there to work as a team sometimes, because, they cannot be by themselves. So what is the underlying fact is that students need to pick up those soft skills that is required for their future employability. So they will be observant. They should be observant. They should be actually working along with the team. They should be working on those research problem, and then they will come up with a solution. And finally, they will have to submit a report. All these report and their conductance in the industry and their other aspects relating to their observation skills, etc., are scored, and that's a part of the score. There is a rubrics for that. So that is scored by the external, like the industry mentor, and then there is a scoring after the evaluation of the report by the academic mentor. So that is the structured way of making that, executing this kind of idea more effectively. That's what we do here in MGU. I mean, this is very for in our department, but there are also some similar kind of arrangement with other departments. And so I want to also highlight what the students enjoy it. Most often students enjoy this, may be the course that students enjoy the most. And the reason is because they see their real challenges in applying some of those knowledge they gathered. And that's very important, because often when I see students coming from India or somewhere, they are very knowledgeable, their content knowledge is good, but then their ability to translate that for solving real life problems are not that much. So here they could get an opportunity, and at the end of this, they will also have there is a students organize a research day where these researchers that they conducted in these industries are presented and evaluated, for the competition and so. I will stop there, but this is something like just to getting warmed up. I'm sure there will be more points from my colleagues, so I will listen to them. Thank you. Sadly.
Thank you, Saji. Jacob, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you need to unmute it. I'm sorry. Jacob, I think you have to unmute. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Saji and Shalini. Saji actually covered a lot of things. So what I noticed, these internships are very useful for students. That's probably one of the things that students actually really enjoy during their coursework or their course. But one reality is, although it's in America too, the internships are not easy to get. Most of the time, we hear from students that it's not easily accessible, and a lot of students actually struggle to find a proper internship. So what we do, we try to help our best way possible to find internship. But still, there are a lot of companies here, and also a lot of health institutions, and especially in Houston area, the one that I live here, there are a lot of hospitals and things like that. So they find a lot of internship over there. So the other thing that we do it in our, in addition to the Saji's ideas, the one that we do it in our campus is like we usually conduct an internship fair. So in that time, a lot of actually industries, small industries, or hospitals or universities, who are looking for some employees. They come up and they put up their flyers, and they put a booth there. And we encourage our students to go there and attend their or present their CVs to their those personalities, and they do some quick check on their CV, and they do a quick interview, and most of the time, a lot of students actually get some selected there. But again, that's not a vast majority, because in a course there are like 60, 70 students are there. It's not easy to find. So one another thing that we do it in our campus is, when who are our students who cannot find outside internship, we usually tell students, you can actually work in a lab, or you can work under a faculty to do some small capstone projects. So sometimes it may not be very high, like a high intense things, but still students can get a feeling about how it's kind of it's separate from their actual curriculum, so how that works. But we do, and then we do all kinds of training, like we do like technical writing, and also communication on oral presentation, and written communication, those kinds of stuff we encourage students to do. And we also put students in a group, like 2 or 3 students in a group, and we ask them to work as a group, so they build up that teamwork kind of setup. So that's also good training that they need, because when they go later in their career, they have to work in a team. So we try to teach them how to work in a team, and how to contribute, and how to do their part in a team. And that's very valuable tool in the current situation. And I notice in Kerala also now they are trying to, I'm sure that they already have this in this kind of internship thing. I remember when I was in School of Chemical Sciences in the master's program, and students are actually going to other labs and doing some internship during the summer. And I don't know how it is possible in small affiliated colleges. It's probably not that easy. And we have the same situation in some cities too in this country. There are not too many industries. So what they do, they kind of do like a faculty-oriented separate training to mimic that that internship. And there are other things, but I actually yield to my colleagues to give more input on this one. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Krishna Kumar or Santosh, would you mind sharing about how would this look from the perspective of industrial sector, or how can students more be involved in not missing those entrepreneurship opportunities?
Yeah, of course. In across the world, there have been some research where curriculum embedded internship programs, they span across about 4 different types. And I remember back in the days when I was a student, the industry academic project collaborations were already in place. So we used to go for 6 months projects, and come back with a lot of learning, and submit a project report, etc. Apart from that, there is some established processes around that are curriculum embedded, which include cooperative education, where the employer actually pays for the person who is doing the internship, and it is part of the curriculum, typically 3 to 6 months. And same with university startup incubators and accelerators, where there are labs and other work spaces that acts as a mini accelerator for someone who can go join and look like a startup program. And the remuneration here is split between university funding and sponsorships. And the third way that I have seen across Canada and the United States is government and industry supported internship program. Again, this is also part of the curriculum, where the government subsidies and industry sponsorships are paying the student for doing the internship. All these actually are towards making the particular student more adaptive and more ready for their employability. But what I've seen, at least at Microsoft, is slightly different, where the internship programs are not part of the curriculum. They actually do the internship during their summer break. Most of the students find the internship by themselves. Even in a 4-year degree course, and even starting in the second year, they actually come over to companies like Microsoft, where They start as an explorer intern. That means like they really don't know which direction they want to go, whether they want to be like in a pure technical company like Microsoft. They could go into coding, they could go into product management, they could go into finance, etc. So they come in and intern and figure out what they want to do for about about 3 months, 8 to 12 weeks. And this is fully paid by the company. That's actually a great way of spending their summer, earning money, earning a lot of experience around working with industry and professionals. Obviously, even though while they're exploring, they will be looking at doing 2 or 3 projects in different areas, and so they can stick to the thing that they are most interested in. Once they go back and come back in the last semester or the last year, they become full-time interns again, fully supported by the company. And in the case of Microsoft, this is very crucial because 86%, currently 86% of these interns get a job in Microsoft. So getting an internship at Microsoft is almost equivalent to getting a job in the place. This number of conversion from internship to permanent positions are very, very high in other companies like Google and Amazon and others. So even though these students are finding these positions by themselves by networking and other means, like for example, a lot of the folks while they were students contact people like me through LinkedIn and other means to say like, here is my resume. Do you have a position that I can come and intern with? Microsoft also provides an industry, a student wing to recruit these kind of folks. There is a wing for specifically recruiting this. And Microsoft and other companies like Microsoft also has incentives for employing internship, because that actually gets them some federal tax credits and other benefits. So it is their also interest to employ a lot of interns in their wing. So this might require a little bit of policy change in the Kerala context, because if you incentivize internship across the board, that actually will enable folks to find internship by themselves and encourage companies to provide these internship opportunities.
Krishna Kumar.
Yeah, so Santosh, who's from Microsoft, I had actually a story to share from a person who interned at Microsoft. This is about a person who worked with me, and his story is that he came from Korea in the early 2000s, and he came here even to study physics. And then, because his wife was staying back in the US, he decided to stay back with her and overstayed his visa. So he was in this weird immigration situation, and then he was doing transportation for around 15-20 years. Then his children grew up, and then finally he got his immigration status all set up. And then his children grew up to be software engineers, and then they encouraged him, why don't you learn about software engineering? So actually he went and did a course, and then he got an internship in Microsoft. And then he got really well at coding, and then he joined my team after he became a full-time employee of Verily, and he worked with us for 3 years. And he was getting old, and his mother and parents were getting old back in Korea, so he went back to Korea and retired effectively. But it shows how internship, the fact he was able to get used to the industry and work in a team setting through that. And when he joined, he was one of my most productive engineers and full of energy, even though he had many years behind him. And I see that with also people fresh out of college, they are in the college, the last semester, they'll come and work with us. One of the things that we try to do is provide them, they already have a theoretical foundation, and so we want to provide them real life experiences. For instance, one of the things is that when people work in a company, they are much more closer to end users and customers. They see the impact of their decisions, of their work immediately. Like, so, like, especially in the computer field, like if you write something and the next day or even the next 5 minutes, it's actually in production impacting users. And that's a real experience. That's something that you will see what is the impact of your work and what is the influence of yourself on the world. And then you realize, like, hey, I can contribute. I can contribute to the world. I have an impact on the world. And that's one of the best things about an internship. And the other thing is, like, we will talk more about this, but we talk about the aspect of AI, right? Like how AI is starting to become pervasive everywhere. And there are questions about, like, is AI general intelligence? Can it replace human beings? Can it replace a person who doesn't have a lot of experience? So what is the value add that a person brings to the industry who is just out of college? And so internships should be a mean to gain skills, like a plethora of different skills, a variety of different skills, that non-technical skills that enable a person to be well-rounded, and provide more than just theoretical knowledge, right? Because that's something that as AI becomes more and more prevalent, like you see that you don't need that as much, but you want to have these non-technical skills which would help people be more productive, more valuable. And so, yeah, that's more I had to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna Kumar. I think you helped me to transition to my next topic, which was about educational technology, AI integration, and open source ecosystems. So I would like my panelists to think about how can universities in India leverage educational technology, including AI tools and open source platforms, in ways that genuinely enhance teaching and learning rather than adding like those superficial complexity or whatever. And also, what are the guardrails needed around ethics, data, and faculty readiness? So I invite Vipin to talk about this topic first.
Thanks, Shalini. So I think today I want to bring on to the table is like how to simplify the teacher's life. So if you look at back on our teachers, basically they are overloaded with a lot of other things in the campus. Example, like they do more than teaching. Example, like administration or evaluations, reports generations, and then there are a lot of or mentoring sometimes. Even I remember that when I was in campus, if I want to know something about it, like we have to just go and tell the Bindamis saying that, hey, Bindamis, do you know anybody in Bangalore? I want to just go to the Bangalore for an interview. There are so many things, we are so dependent on the teachers, and teachers are overloaded with a lot of things. So we have to really think about how to simplify their life using the technology, and then maybe more advanced with the AI technologies. So in coming back to the administrative task, like they do like sometimes I think that they come and do the attendance, like that takes 5 minutes. Instead of that, maybe they can just think about like taking a picture, or maybe install a camera in the classroom. That camera can take a picture and then do the face recognition and then capture who all are present, who all are absent. It's pretty easy thing. So it doesn't have to be still. They just keep a book on the classroom, and people has to do attendance manually. So that's one part, that's one of the administrative tasks. And then also they do like a lot of report generations, um, and then also like as a second topic, like they also has to prepare a lot of content generations, like for the way how they want to do the teaching on it. So these areas we can just help AI, and then a lot of tools in the market which can generate the content, or maybe plan a lesson in a better way, or maybe they've been doing the lesson planning for a similar pattern, which may be effective for some students and maybe not effective for some students. So they can think about an alternative way of creating the lessons plan. And also that we know that sometimes the class students in the classroom learns by their own speed and pace. And so basically, in case like if they are taking some sessions on it, and then they don't, maybe some students, if they didn't understand it that clearly, so teachers also can recommend alternative content and recommendation using this tool, saying that, hey, this is an alternative way of learning this particular topic, and they can easily recommend that content to the teachers, students, saying that they can just do it by themselves. So it could be a connection with maybe an Udemy course, or it could be a connection with the LinkedIn courses, or it can be so many contents are available on the market, so they can just quickly, by clicking on a one button, they can just recommend alternative contents to the students. And fourth, I also want to just bring out a point about assessments. So I think I've been working on assessment for last 2-3 years. So we do a lot of adaptive assessments and rubric scoring for passages and various lot of other way of, or most advanced way of scoring the assessments, and also provide a better, or provide a more accurate performance reports for a particular students. I think we should consider to implement these also into our curriculums. So that's the way. This will also save a lot of money on it on the campus, because right now still they are printing millions of papers and printing that. And then also the hard part is teachers are spending so much time of evaluating that. I don't know how much teachers are maybe they're overloaded with a lot of things, but how much time they can put on evaluating a particular student's answer sheet clearly, right? And sometimes I see that some of our reports will say that based on the assessment, they will have more detailed um, performance analysis, saying that okay, how good this particular student is in solving a logical problems or analytic skills. So many other things we can just find out based on these online assessments it to be in place. And also save some trees by printing the papers on it. And also, just one more short sentence. I think when everybody talk about the AI and everything, so and we just have to make sure that AI is not here to replace the teachers or anybody. It's just if you use an AI, you can just create a more. If a teacher use an AI, they can create more smarter students to the market. Yeah, I think Sandesh has a hand raised on it.
Sorry, not to pressurize you to stop.
No.
But I just wanted to quickly add that this new AI tools also help the students. Like when I had an opening for a product manager in my role, this is a shameless plug for Copilot as well, Microsoft Copilot as well. What I did was I actually gave a short summary of what my team does and gave the job description, and asked Copilot to generate interview preparation material. So it actually came out with a 20-page document on the possible questions that this person might get asked in an interview, and the way, based on the resume, the way you could answer based on your previous experience, etc., for those kind of questions as well. So a lot of ways this actually helps not only the teachers but also students who are preparing for internship, for preparing for job offerings and other things as well. So making use of these tools will really be the way to go in the future.
Krishna Kumar, I remember you talking about learning how to write the right prompts, right? How to give the right prompts to AI. So could you speak a little bit about that, transitioning from what Santosh mentioned about how can students use it in the best way possible?
Right. I think one of the things that we should all, realize in a sense is everybody, no exceptions, has 24 hours in the day, right? And how we utilize those 24 hours in terms of teaching or studying makes a difference, right? So in the past, pre-internet, whatever, only things that you could do is go and read a book or read summaries and those kind of things. But the landscape has fundamentally changed today, right? That is you can rely on a lot of tools, not only to do the work for you but also to enhance your own learning, right? So for instance, if you are, say for instance, on time management itself, right? If you want to learn about time management, you can go to Notebook LM in Google and ask it, okay, give me all the literature on time management. And it will tell you, okay, these are all the research articles, these are all the books, can you summarize them for me? Okay, and it will give you, so you don't have to spend 3 hours or 5 hours reading a book. It gives you the points there. How do you reconcile what this book says with this book? What are the pros and cons, right? And now, so you have kind of like distilled all the learning together, and then you are actually trying to get insights out of it, and you are comparing and you're contrasting, and you are actually getting to a new level of understanding, and you're formulating new ideas and theories, and you're making it work for you, right? And this goes across all the fields, right? One of the things that we all knew that computers are fast and they can process a lot of information. Now they are also good at like deriving insights from literature and research topics, right? And that's something, and it doesn't matter which tool you're using, for like, I use, for instance, I use Gemini, I use ChatGPT, I use Claude, and I use Copilot, like, which is obviously a coding tool. But like all these tools, they have achieved a level comparable to each other. So it doesn't matter what tool you use, but can you use the tool to actually fast forward your learning and get to, you get the foundation right and you start building things on it. And people who are doing pure research, this is really valuable, because how much time that you previously spent on various things, you can save all those things by getting to the fundamentals there, right? And you can also ask AI to explore a wide variety of things, whereas previously you were limited by how you would be able to search, right? The concept of prompts, there is actually a is something called prompt engineering, like, which allows you to like actually talk to systems and derive information carefully. But I think as AI develops, I think we'll move past it, right? Now, one of the things in the programming space is the concept of vibe coding, which is an idea that is, hey, I'm going to just tell AI to do stuff, and I'm going to see the results. I'm not going to see what the internals are. And this is like fundamentally opposed to what software development has been in practice, which is like, we want to know that every code is very, very, very well structured, and the database design is right, the structure of the program is right. But now you're just saying like, I just care about the final thing, and I'm just going to keep on telling you what to do, and you keep doing it, right? Obviously, there are concerns about it and all that, but like you can see how things are shifting dramatically, right? And how we are getting to a stage where you can tell AI, like, hey, I want, this is what I want, and I maybe I have a small clue about what I want, and as you do things, I'll tell you more, and I'll give you more information, and I will see what you did, and I have my opinion, I'll tell you my opinion, and then you change, and you keep this back and forth, right? And then you get to a place where you're actually building something really beautiful, right? So,
Jacob, I have seen your hand.
Thank you, Shailali. Okay, so I just want to know a couple of few things about the educational technologies that we can actually use in the classroom, which can actually help the instructor and also for students. Because what we typically use, there are several technologies that we use in the classroom, the tools that we can constantly engage with the students. Sometimes we include the course material, syllabus, communication. All those things there are special tools that we can actually communicate, which are usually by like a learning management software, like LMS system. So it's very effective. So we don't have to actually see the students in the class all the time. We can actually, if you want to send a message, we can actually send a message in LMS, and we can upload contents, course contents, and useful links. So those technologies are very useful, what I noticed. And another thing that I was very impressed by is the instant feedback. Sometimes when you're taking a class in class, we can use some technologies that we can actually get instant feedback. Because if you're like several students, we don't know what are they following our content. Sometimes they may not be. So we can actually quickly ask a question. We can actually deliver that through certain technologies, and we can check their understanding. So that I feel like that was very useful. So we can actually regulate, we can actually control our teaching, and if they need more attention, we can spend more time on that one and teach. those technologies are very useful. I felt those are very good, and students, I mean, people should be using those kinds of technologies. And of course, they are most of the time they are kind of paid tools, so we have to spend some money on it. That's where sometimes what we do, we get some sponsors. Sometimes some industry people or someone actually sponsor those kinds of tools for our schools. So that becomes very useful. Another thing that we use, like homework tools. We don't have time to grade students' homework or any other things. So there are a lot of tools available. We can actually assign those tools, those homework online, and students can actually do this homework, and the tools will grade for us. That's actually save a lot of times. And we have to spend a lot of time on actually administration and service. So those are very useful.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. I have a quick follow-up for you, Vipin.
Okay.
I know you were closely involved in the development and the launching of the MGU platform, right? So do you envision the future of the website with some, what are the possibilities of integrating AI into our website?
Yeah. Oh, sure. I think, so launching about that MGU.com, I think our vision was like, to reduce the gap between the students and alumni. So basically, like, we have like a lot of talented alumni that are produced by campus, and then we have to make sure those alumni are reachable to the students. That's why it's just not a database application. It's just basically a little beyond that on it. And also, like, regarding the AI enablement, I think we do have some features are coming up in the pipeline, which are like resume building, and then, or maybe like Santosh mentioned that Copilot, using the Copilot, we can also build an AI interview bot, and also like resume scorer. That's one of the other features that we are thinking about it. Example, like if there is a particular job description has came up on a student's screen, then we have to see that how their resumes are aligned with the job description. And also on top on that, we are also planning to use the AI to find out how many, if let's say, just put an example, like maybe Wipro. If I'm a student, I'm seeing an opportunity from Wipro, and then basically I want to see how many alumni are working on that particular company, so that I can just, hey, maybe like, Santosh might be working on it. I can reach out to Santosh. Hey, Santosh, I've seen that you're working on Wipro, and then can I get a referral to that company for this particular position? So we are also, on top of that, we are also having the mentoring program. So the mentoring mentee matching algorithm, we are also thinking about introducing an AI on it. So there are a lot of things are in the pipeline. So it's coming up like, maybe in the next few months or maybe in a year of time. Yeah.
Thank you, Bipin. That's awesome. I know the importance of networking is great, and we have been talking about that,
Good.
right? So we're going into our last topic. I think we have 10 more minutes. So we'll be talking about student-centered skill-based learning, research productivity, curriculum flexibility, and interdisciplinarity. I know it's a big topic, so I would lean on to the educators, Saji and Jacob, to start with it, and then moving on to Krishna Kumar and Santosh to give their insights.
Great, thank you, Shalini. And I think it is a very nice continuation of the topic that we were discussing about the use of AI and other technologies in assessment. I will pick up that topic on the assessment as such, because we know traditionally we've been actually following that method of in classroom delivery of lectures, and then exams that are taken at the end of the year or middle of the year. So that's how it traditionally been done. And as we know that as the generations go by, there is not much appealing to the new generations about these all kind of assessment. And then obviously there are lots of other method or chances that they can what we call cheat or something like that. All right. So then the knowledge transition from one person to another, that's the sense of this teaching, may not be effectively happening if we continue in that traditional trajectory. So we need to actually realign with the expectations and also of the spirit of the new generations to come. Now it is a Gen Z, and further more generations are going to come who are actually more savvy with the technology. So in that, it becomes a challenge how to actually teach and then educate the new kind of because eventually what we need is an all-rounded person who is actually capable of as a manpower to the country and beyond. How are they nurtured and how are they formed, and what is that our role in that formation? So I think in that particular sector, I will take the assessment. For example, like how can we make it more student-centered? Like in our teachings role right now, what we are trying to bring up is in replacement of this traditional assessment, like exam sheets. We are bringing in new things, like for example, the students may be asked to write a blog post about a topic that is given to them, or they may be assigned with a social media announcements or a main media kind of a pitch that they can do with their what they understood. So they may have to communicate with the common man, in a very tech savvy kind of a topic. And how do they actually bring it to the common man? The underlying spirit is like, if you want to explain a thing in a very simple language, you have to understand it thoroughly. That's the thing. Like without understanding it, you won't be able to communicate effectively to a person who have no idea about it. In that process, what they are doing is the students will learn. They have no other way other than to learn about it. Of course, they can actually do, take this AI nowadays. That's another challenge that we have. But there is, it also, provides them that opportunity to actually a little bit more interested in the subject and learn it rather than being just, taking it for just an understanding level. Then now, when I was talking to my colleagues, especially Jyoti, for example, she was telling me like, nowadays, there is a lot of, content-wise, they are covering a lot, but are they actually, maybe going into the, if you're talking about the Bloom's taxonomy, they may be acquiring at a understanding level, but then beyond that, the application of knowledge or creation of knowledge, all these kind of, like a higher in the Bloom's taxonomy is not going to happen. So we need to reinvent these kind of tools along with what the new the demand of the students are, or demand of the generations, I would say. And also how, again, we been mentioned nicely about, we only, there is a lot of tasks that is being done to the instructors or the lecturers or the professors. So that kind of thing is not going to work a lot, because at the execution level, if all these things what we discussed today has to materialize, we need to also identify what is the smart way of executing it in a way that our existing structure platform is not saturated or not burdened too much, especially the teachers or the lecturers, they are not burdened too much. Problem is when they are burdened too much without a motivating factor, that eventually the interest in these kind of programs that we are talking about will wean out. So we need to make sure that is also not happening. That's where another thing, like motivation comes for being more student-centered kind of learning and assessment. And we can actually take these kind of things, AI. But then I want to also tell you that, the AIs can be used as a tools by students to just transfer knowledge without understanding it. Very evident when we are actually going through assignments. We know that they are using very good fancy terminologies, very good things structured very well. Otherwise, but when we really face-to-face talk to the student, we know that has not happened. The knowledge transfer has not happened very effectively. So that's where we'll have to understand that, how can we actually bring in the student, the student-teacher interface, where we need to have that evaluation also built into this if we want to make that assessment, the student-centered assessment or student-centered learning more effective. There is no solution yet for that problem. So I will tell you one thing that is happening in McGill is something like we do have a weekly kind of group. This is informal kind of discussion forums where the teachers, where our professors, they share their experience with the students using AI. How do they constantly new ideas to contract or new ideas to actually bring along the students in the right path. So what I'm trying to say is this is actually an evolving process. There is no solution at the moment for making sure that the content that the students are generating or are getting is gone through a genuine pathway. So I will stop there and I will listen to other colleagues who may have better ideas to pitch. Thank you.
Jacob, do you want to add to that?
Let me make it in minute. All right. So the thing about now is, globally the higher education system is continuously changing, and now the change is very drastic and very quick. So, and because of that, the employment status is changing, the employment possibility is changing, that employment landscape is changing very quickly. So the traditional jobs that we usually have is kind of shrinking. That workforce, we don't need that much anymore. So we had to find new jobs, new job creations, and so we need to move along that direction. So we need to actually design our course or curriculum in a manner that we can actually meet the requirement of the current industry need or other need. So that's why it's kind of we can say maybe an on-demand system now. The education system the higher education is kind of moving towards an on-demand. So we need to look what we need for next 10 or 15 years. Yeah. So it might be changing for after next 15 years. It may not be the same pattern. So we may need new kinds of job or new kind of education system or new knowledge we need to survive in that situation. That's why we kind of need to design and update our curriculum very often. So that's why we are kind of saying that it's kind of more becoming a student-centered curriculum rather than a faculty or instructor-centered curriculum. So we are looking what student actually need or what employer need. So we are kind of making new courses, new curriculum based on that. So that's why, so when you are creating new courses or new curriculum, it's probably a good idea to interact with the local industry people or other professionals, and we can check with them. And that's what we did. And from my experience, I actually part of several of those kinds of meetings when we are trying to make new graduate programs or new courses. So what we do, we actually invite local industry people. Okay, and then we ask, okay, what do you need? What kind of skills that you need for your industry or your company? So we get a good feedback from those industry people, and then based on that feedback, we actually develop the course. So we kind of include their opinion, their suggestions, and we include that kind of skills in our learning outcome. So. And so when we also, when we make that courses, we make sure that our the learning outcomes are clearly defined. So students know what exactly they are going to study or what exactly they are going to get. So they can actually select or they can actually give feedback. Sometimes, what we do, we get student feedback also very often. So that's what the one thing our university system does. So at the end of the semester, we actually collect student feedback. So in that time, we ask actually, what's the course? What do you think about the course? Is there anything that we can improve? Or any topics that we can add to the content. So based on that feedback, we actually, when the next revision cycle or next update time, we actually update our curriculum or courses so that we can actually better serve to the community. Another thing that we do that we do for as an instructor standpoint. So we usually have a regular meetings or with other instructors, so we can actually get feedback from other instructors. Okay, what do we do for the their courses? Sometimes there may be a better tool that we are not aware, or maybe a better teaching method, or maybe a new something that we can apply into your curriculum. So we usually we call that like a teaching circle. So basically something that, similar interest or similar topic courses. So we actually come together and discuss about that kind of concept and ideas, and then we discuss. And sometimes in universities give actually small incentive to make that, so we get small grants. So that kind of an incentive or a motivation for us to bring those ideas and share and brainstorm, things. So that is going very well. And I just want to add one more thing before I stop, because one thing is, assessment, because of this generative AI is taking a lot of big role in academy actually. So we all know that AI, is very useful if you use it very carefully. Okay, especially for students, now they are using AI for everything. They're not, they're, if we give a science problem now, they don't have to actually do that problem. They can just ask the AI, and the AI actually do all the calculations and give this, the final answer. So they are not actually, completely need to learn anything. So they can actually, cheat the system basically. Okay, so if someone wants, so we need to be a little bit careful on that one. So when you are assessing, so we need to reinvent, or we need to find out methods to do better assessment, because the traditional way of assessment may not work at this moment. So we may do some skill checks, small, in-person discussions, or maybe some other activities to assess the students.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. So just add on to that, something we do in our universities, we have started like ungrading, where the student has to take accountability and more responsibility. They have to own their education. So a lot of ungrading. So they grade themselves. Now they are using AI. They have to be accountable for that. So we do that too. Santosh, Krishna Kumar.
I'll just quickly add, we are running out of time. My middle school daughter is doing ungrading at this point, so that is coming to you, or the places near you. I just want to add a few more things. A lot of things that I want to talk have already been covered by Saji and Jacob. So I'll just quickly say that the student-centered and skill-based training that has been widely researched in the last few years, last 5 years or so. Even the national education policy in India that came out in 2020 has actually talked a lot about student-based, student-centered, and skill-based learning. Some of the key things that actually they highlight in that policy is that you need to have multiple entry and exit pathways for learning knowledge. So you just have completed 2 semesters and then went away for something, and then you have the flexibility. You need to have the flexibility to come back and continue. The other thing that talked about was modular and interdisciplinary course of offering. This is where I was talking about. I had a degree in computer science. If I want to pursue something, some other topic, I should be able to do without having that qualifying course as a mandate. Other big thing that this Jacob alluded to is about cheating or ethics in from the part of the students. We have talked a lot about outcome-based education, where you are looking at specific outcomes and skills rather than ability to score marks or score grades. So you continuously are learning, and the evaluation techniques are based on how good a learner or how good you have acquired that skill. So it is about acquiring the skill and mastering skills. A lot of programs, I have seen this in my research, even in Canada and other places, where they put a lot of emphasis on the skill mastering rather than anything else. So there is no way you can partially master a skill. So the emphasis is on full mastery of the skill, and you can come back. This is where universities will act as continuous learning centers, and not as like you go and get a degree and go away from that institution. Institutions have to become focal points for continuous learning. So that's another thing that talked about. And all this research, one of the things that continually talked about is exams to experiences. So this is like, if you look up, there's a lot of research and debate on exams to experiences. It's all talk about how do you assess a student on performance based and portfolio based assessment. This mimics the industry, what the industry does. In industry, the annual bonuses and other promotions are all based on your performance. So why do we mimic that in the university course curriculum area also, right? Without really, like, you master a skill, you assess the performance on that skill, and then you grade based on that. The other thing is stackable credentials. Again, a lot of research on stackable credentials. You go and get micro credentials as you learn. So I could, if while I am doing social sciences, I could go and do a certificate on AI ethics, for example, right? So these are all actually will be useful and improve your employability. There's a lot to talk about, but in short of time, I'll stop right there.
Krishna Kumar, go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to take a lighter example and look at an example from sports, right? So in 1991, the Indian cricket team went to Australia, and it was said like we were the strongest batting team in the world. We went for a test series and we got wiped out 4-0, and then we lost the World Cup. And there was a lot of anger, especially at some of the umpiring decisions. And so if one of the banners in the stadium was like, my eyes weren't good for batting, so I became an umpire. And so this was the kind of emotion that was happening there. What we saw in cricket over the past 3 decades has been increasing use of technology to prevent errors, right? And when these technologies started happening for runouts, for LBW and other things, there was a lot of objections from the other side. So some people said, hey, this is reducing the authority of the umpire. The technology isn't good enough. But what we saw is that it has been relentless. Like, the technology has been adopted and people have embraced it. And we see today that it's all about like making sure there are no errors, right? And the lesson from this is really that that you can't stop the future. The future is coming, right? So all the technologies, all the things, advances that we are going to see today, they're going to get even better and more powerful in the future. And so we cannot hide from that, and we have to embrace it, right? But we have to embrace it with the knowledge there are downsides to it, particularly in the aspect of ethics. How are people using AI to cheat the system and all that? And you had to put checks and balances there. So one of the things that, like, from the industry side, we, for example, we hire people, and there have been questions when we have do remote interviews. People are using AI to answer questions, right? And how do you prevent that? Now, one aspect is like go back to a non technology-based option, like, hey, tell people to come into the face-to-face, and do it on the whiteboard. So it's a low-tech solution, right? But the other thing is, like, we are saying, like, okay, when they're actually going to work, are they not going to use AI? Do we want to tell them not to use AI to do their work? Well, we do, right? And so question is, like, how do we actually change our interview process to actually say, like, use AI, use the tools that you have, use every tool that is possible, and then solve the question. I want to see you actually use it well, right? And so that is the trend towards where we are heading, right? And so and so that's what I would say about that. So, Shalini.
Thank you. I want to thank all my panelists for this amazing, thought-provoking discussion that we had. I want to make sure we keep our time. And I want to say thank you to our Honorable Vice Chancellor and our favorite Jinchetan and Professor Seno, Dr. P. Manoj, DT, and Vibin for coordinating this event and making it successful. We would like to stay in touch, build those bridges, help as much as we can. Either it's through mentoring, being guest faculty members, helping with curriculum development, or whatever. I'm speaking for everyone, so we are happy to help in however we can and stay in contact with our alma mater. Thank you so much.
Shalini, 1 second. I think Ginger, do you want to add anything on it? Oh, I think no. Okay. Yeah, it's all back.
Hello. Can I do the technology?
Okay, not a problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. I got the mic.
Okay, I think looks like
Hello.
I like the dramatic ending.
അല്ലല്ല അതിൽ കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല അതിലില്ല ഇല്ല.
I think Janetta is okay now. You can
It's
talk.
okay. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
ഒരു
Jinjata.
മിനിറ്റ്, ഞാൻ ഇവിടുത്തെ മൈക്ക് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുമോ നോക്കണം. നമ്മളെ മൊബൈൽ ടെക്നോളജി യൂസ് ചെയ്തോണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you, Jinjata. I think
Kekao.
your smile answers
Kekao.
things. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
കേക്കാവോ?
Yes.
ഓക്കെ, ഞാനങ്ങ് പറഞ്ഞു.
It's okay. It's okay,
Okay,
Jinjata.
thank
I
you,
think we can wrap
Shani,
it up.
for brilliantly moderating the session, and it's really a lot of information you kind of shared in 1 hour, and all the panel members, Jacob, Santosh, Vibin, Saji, Krishna, we had a lot to capture in 1 hour. I think you brilliantly moderated the session, and all the panel members, they contributed a lot in 1 hour. So we have a small gathering around here, as I can see here. So we gathered in SPAP director's office. So because other program was going around, so it's so disturbing around there, and we had a bit of technical stuff going around. So actually, we missed you in person, but your voices are heard, and it's been recorded, and we hopefully play it again in the main hall tomorrow sometime when we get time. And it's too early there, and it's a bit late here for dinner for all of us, and. Yeah, only some of us haven't had dinner. Others are enjoying dinner. And I'll take the mobile around people here. So thanks to you all. It's great having you for this session, and thanks you for the brilliant organization. I think it was fun. We got a lot. Yeah. The brother is here. Okay, come on, here.
Hi guys,
Hello.
thank you. That was an exceptional panel.
Thank you.
Great discussions.
Yeah.
I think it's an ongoing
Jacob is
discussion.
smiling, you know? Jacob is smiling.
Yes, yes, thank you. That's very good. Thank you for organizing this one. You guys did an amazing job. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, the credit goes to convener.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now
all coordinators.
Our main organizer is here. I'll see you there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So it was an excellent discussion, and it's nicely here all of us. Thank you very much for your convenience to attend this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I'll quickly show all of that. Okay, I got Maman. And
Okay.
now we got some students around here. No, my camera is on. Okay, that's all. Okay, thank you all.
Okay.
Have a nice day. Okay, I know you guys have to go. Okay, it's fine. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.